Bill 54.
Bill 54, Minister of Service, New Brunswick.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to speak on the second reading of an act to amend the Assessment Act. Mr. Speaker, over the past few years, an incredible amount of work has been done to modernize and streamline the property assessment function. In 2017, the Auditor General released a report on the special examination of property assessment. The report contained 25 recommendations to modernize and align New Brunswick property assessment services with other jurisdictions. One of the recommendations was to separate the annual property assessment notice from the property tax bill, similar to all other jurisdictions in Canada. Separating the two notices allows property owners to distinguish between the property assessment notice and the property tax bill. In 2019, work to fulfill this recommendation began. In October 2020, property owners received their first separate assessment notice based on the property's assessed value as of January 1st, 2021. This means assessment notices are being issued for a date in the future, as opposed to in the past, as was the former practice. As a result of the projecting forward, a second notice mail-out is sent in January to capture new sales, major construction, demolition, or renovations that occurred after the assessment notices were sent in October. For 2023, 32,000 supplementary notices were produced in January. Mr. Speaker, New Brunswick is the only known jurisdiction to have a future valuation date. The only one, Mr. Speaker. Further, the new timeline has contributed to delays in processing requests for reviews, decisions, and has led to a second request for review period. It has also created challenges for assessors in collecting and analyzing appropriate data and information in a timely manner. Mr. Speaker, the current timeline also limits the ability of assessors to complete other required core assessment activities during the assessment work cycle, such as re-inspections. Mr. Speaker, Section 15 of the Act states that property assessment services must assess all real property in its real and true market value as of January 1st for the year for which the assessment is made. We are recommending that Section 15 be amended to require all real property be assessed at its real and true value as of January 1st of the year of the preceding year in which the assessment is made. To support this proposal, we are also recommending changing the date the assessment notices are sent from October to January. This change does not require an amendment to the Act. These changes would ensure fairness by improving the accuracy of assessments, as the valuations produced would be sufficiently close to current market values. It would also allow time for the collection and analysis of market evidence and the preparation of reliable valuations based on that evidence. It would also eliminate the second wave of assessment notices and requests for reviews, which would result in cost reductions and gained efficiencies within assessment services. It would allow quicker response time for responding to requests for reviews, as assessors would no longer need to wait for the current year information. It'll allow assessors to concentrate on core assessment functions such as re-inspections. It will minimize financial risk for the province, local governments, and rural districts. It will align with local government budgeting timelines and ensure effective workflows with property assessment services. In addition, Mr. Speaker, our proposed amendments respond to the Auditor General's recommendations by creating a more transparent and modernized function within property assessment services. The amendments would be effective for the 2025 taxation year. The 2024 taxation year would be the transition year. Property owners will have 30 days to request a review of their property's value following the mailing of their assessment notice in January. Tax bills will continue to be mailed in March. Mr. Speaker, to assist with implementing this proposal, we are also recommending adding a definition of state and condition date to the Act. This would allow assessors to include physical changes to the property, such as renovations, new construction, additions, demolitions, change of use or ownership made before January 1st of the year the assessment is made. Mr. Speaker, we are also proposing to amend Section 15 of the Act, which states all property shall be assessed at its real and true value, to define real and true value as fee simple interest, similar to the definition in Nova Scotia's Assessment Act, which states the definition real property shall be valued by the director as if the person assessed were the owner of the title in fee simple, and no reduction in value shall be made merely because the property is subject to any lien, mortgage, lease, claim, license, or other encumbrances on the title. Mr. Speaker, the past few years have been challenging for the Property Assessment Services team. Property assessment has been instrumental in supporting local governance reform and new housing initiatives, reassessing properties damaged by Hurricane Fiona, and responding to the significant growth and volatility in the real estate market. The changes we are proposing today, Mr. Speaker, will align with government initiatives in creating vibrant and sustainable communities, and will bring the New Brunswick's assessment cycle in line with other jurisdictions in Canada. It will allow for a more accurate and transparent reflection of the property's real and true market value, and respond to the Auditor General's recommendations to modernize and streamline New Brunswick's assessment function. Mr. Speaker, Service New Brunswick prides itself on excellence in service delivery. I thank our hardworking team at Property Assessment Services for their support in bringing forward these amendments to further modernize the assessment function and redirect their focus to prioritize this work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.